Silkun is next.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was very fortunate yesterday to have the opportunity to do book distribution with Her Grace Malini Prabhu. And we went to a storefront, an Indian storefront called Namaste Supermarket in Scarborough. And we had a lot of Indian-bodied people walking around. And they were very ripe, meaning that they were mostly familiar with Vedic culture. And we followed Malini Prabhu's lead by taking a completely different approach and approaching it from the perspective of we are presenting a project of Vedic preservation. And we had the full Bhagavatam set on display with posters. It was a really different approach, and it did pique the interest of these Indians walking around. I also followed your suggestions of do not hand them anything. So we did not hand them anything, no cards, no books, and just started making friends with them, asking them their names, where they're from, really getting to know them and building that connection. Then we talked a little bit about our fundraising efforts, that we do place books in hospitals, prisons, hotels, and how they really make a difference in people's lives, especially when they're in desperate situations. At that point, we'd ask for a small donation. Anything more than $1, less than $100 was our pitch. And it worked really well. We got some people that gave $20, $50. They just gave whatever their heart desired. We gave them a free gift as the Bhagavad Gita, or if they already had Gita, we gave them Sri Ishopanishad or some other books that piqued their interest. And the main thing is that we built that connection and got their phone number, got a picture with them, got them our card so they can keep in touch with us. In terms of the Bhagavatam set, we had a very interesting experience where there was a lady that was probably in her 3rd trimester, very pregnant. She was walking into the grocery store. I approached her, and I asked her if she's familiar with Vedic knowledge. She said yes. I said, have you heard of Prahlad Maharaj and Narsimha? She said yes. She said she knows the story. So I said, if you read the Bhagavatam to your child before he or she's born, this is the best. So she was very interested. She said she wanted to take a set. And I got her name, her phone number, and her address. Turns out she lives nearby where Anuttama and I live. And we were willing to deliver the set to her as well. However, right at the last minute, I'm not sure what it was, but she ended up talking to her husband, and he dissuaded her. So they went into the supermarket. We were waiting for them to come out. They came out about 40 minutes later, and Her Grace Malini Prabhu tried to approach them as well. And my question for you is, at what point do we know when to back off without leaving a bad impression, however, not giving up too easily? Because I felt we were at that point where I didn't want to leave a bad impression because I already got her name and phone number. I wanted to keep in touch with her, but also didn't want to give up too easily.
I usually judge it by my own feeling. What I mean by that is that when we're interacting with people, we can notice the level of emotion that's in our mind or in our heart. And Braja Bihari Prabhu once gave me a little graph he made, or maybe he just told me this and I made the graph. But it says that there's an inverse relationship between emotion and reason. And the more emotional one is, the less reasonable we are. And so I have a rule: when I get an email from somebody that is irksome, then I don't answer back until I feel that level of emotion go down, until I'm 100% objective. And maybe I'll answer in a completely different way. And it's similarly, when I'm engaged in these very frustrating circumstances, and I totally empathize, because it's happened to me thousands of times in various ways, where they're almost there and one person is so enthusiastic and you're fanning the spark, and then the other person comes and just brings a bucket of water and dumps it on. And in those cases, if you feel in your heart the indignation that might arise, like how dare he, then that's a danger point in which don't talk, don't try to push it. Just back off. That's my advice, because I do that myself. And if I notice that I'm feeling that sense of how dare he kind of thing, and I have to protect her, we can't enter into that, especially if it's a husband and wife. You never get in between the two of them, ever, because they'll both go against you later. So best to back off and just take what yardage you can get, forward progress. So you made 3 yards on a play, that's okay, you still got 7 more. So they made it that far, then the next time the lady comes in contact, then it could change.
Yeah, just to add one thing, I did try to leave her with the best impression possible by telling her about my yoga classes, and that she's welcome to join after she gives birth, so maybe kind of introduce her in a more, gradual way. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Thank you. Yes. Oh, you were here. I'm sorry. One more here. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj,
Hare
please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances. Yesterday I was at Old City Hall. I've met one person. He was quite interested with Bhagavad Gita, and I was explaining everything. I was following the order whichever you told us yesterday, and what I've noticed is he was listening to everything, and at the end when I asked for, like, do you want to take it now, he said, oh, I'm deaf, I can't hear anything, whatever you say. And but I was asking questions, and he was explaining me what is karma mean to him, everything. But at the end, when I asked him to take the book, he's like, oh, I'm deaf, I cannot hear you, whatever you say. And can I donate you something? I said, yes. So he just gave me $5, donated $5. And I've met several people yesterday, but my realization is people are so reluctant to take books, but happy to donate. So I've got many donations yesterday, but not books, not books.
Well, maybe match up with somebody who has the opposite experience. You can team up.
Yeah, that's my realization,
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Okay, listen. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hare
Remember
Krishna.
your number, because I won't. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I had a great experience yesterday with Her Grace Malini Mataji. One thing I have to appreciate also is the law number 4. Law number 3 is the more you show, the more you serve. And I have to thank Sonam Mataji for being organized on that, because when we were packing the books and we were taking the whole Bhagavatam set, she suggested that take the regional language Canton 1 Bhagavatam set. So that will help us to open up more doors. So I was a little reluctant when she said that in my mind, but then, I definitely appreciate for all the support she has given me before. So I said, okay, let's take the whole, then she packed around 7 or 8 of them. That was a big, big opening for us to talk to, many other people over there whose English is not a first language, who spoke a different regional language at the store. And Malini Mataji, again, she's a great, great, great support for us to show how to transit, which I learned yesterday, from, distributing the books to e-book. That was a great learning for me when she was contacting the students, and she was not talking about the e-books. She was talking about, discussing about the Bhagavatam set and displaying the display what we had, and she showed. But as soon as, they had questions about taking the whole set, it is too big for them, they have a small place to live, and, they talked about time. Then where she switched from books to e-books, and that was a big success for us to get, I think, around 4 or 5 online, and she was very, very quick in updating the information, putting I think I need to do better at that, to update the email, to put the numbers, and then check their phone whether they have got that information, then tell them, see, you see all the 12 cantos, now you can click. So basically, not just to give out information, but to tell them the next step, and then ask for donation. That was a big help.
Very nice, very nice.
And
Yeah, that was, were you done?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So
Let me just make a few comments
Sure.
before you ask your question. One was, that was law number 3, yes, but it's also law number 2. Because you have to bring the books. You have to have the ones that you're going to need. And if you do your research ahead of time, think about it. Which books might you need in a circumstance? With the policy, you don't miss anybody. If you're going to meet people who speak Mandarin, make sure you bring Mandarin books. If you're going to meet people who speak a variety of Indian languages, make sure you have those. So that's really important. Also, becoming familiar with technology so that you can do things really quickly. Practice at home. Practice on other people so it's fast. Because you want to be really confident when you're dealing with getting somebody's name and things like that. It's extremely important. And I also, there's a little bit of a push to, help them along. Because their tendency, if you give them 2 or 3 seconds to think about it, then they'll start backtracking. So you have to move things along for them. It's like, okay, now push this, now do that, and this, that, so that it's not left to them. They'll all do it later. Because as everyone knows who studied accounting, there's the law of diminishing intent. The longer they wait, every second they wait, then the less likely it is that they're going to pay something or pay back even what they owe. Please ask your question.
My question is that on Veda base, we can read all the 12 cantos. The question here is that when we are giving them an e-book and they come to know that they can use Veda base, how do we answer that question that they are paying for e-books, but now they can get it in Veda base?
Veda base really isn't for public consumption. It's an internal document made by the Bhaktivedanta archives. It's just that a few people borrowed it and then it got spread around to a lot of people. And it's under review right now which books they're going to put on there and so forth, but it's not really meant for a wide audience. However, the e-books are, and there'll be more and more development with the e-books as far as adding pictures. There may be even apps for each book and so forth. Like there's already a Bhagavad Gita app that you can buy for $5. It's far more efficient to use than the Veda base, because everything's contained within one section. So yes, information's floating around everywhere, but very few people know about the Veda base. If they come to know about it, you just explain that it's an internal document that got leaked out, but it's not something that we sell or even advise people to use. That's why we have the e-books. I can't hear you.
Are you referring to Vedabase, the app, or Vedabase, the website? Vedabase.io?
Both.
Oh, both of them are leaked out, like they're not authorized?
No, it's just that, yeah, well, the one online database, they're all under review. It's not that they're unauthorized. It's just that they were internal documents meant for something else, not for distribution. And as devotees always do, especially if you know a Russian, you know, for years, even when they were selling the database, you know, somebody would crack it, and then, so they just left it open. But it's not in any way designed for public consumption. But anybody can crack anything if they want to. But we're talking about selling them a unit of something that's lined up specifically for them and that's going to have more and more features. Who is next? Oh, goodness. I need a... Okay, you're next.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you for this nice experience. I wanted to share, I was in the old town hall, and the experience I had was, usually I'm just on the mats, so then Jayanti Maji, thankfully, she wanted to trade people around, so I got up, I'm like, okay, I better do something here. and then I went to where the FIFA World Cup thing was there, And I've always been kind of like skeptical of like who's going to spend so much time and do this whole formula with me. And I think one thing that really changed the game was you said yesterday to hide the books or to just have your hands free. And so that really opened a lot of things for me, because I could really just like wave at people and talk to people. So I waved one guy down, and then I did the formula like before I even started. Me and Anshu actually, we reviewed, okay, what to do first, this, and then Anshu like coached me again through it, and then I just followed that formula exactly, like to the T. He was like a mountain climber, and then I told him, this guy was a mountain climber. And then he actually laughed. I was very surprised. And then I'm like, okay, this, internally my mind was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening, it's happening. And then finally he gave the Lakshmi, and then I felt like, wow, this really worked. And I actually tried it with a few other people, and in some variation or other, if we just follow that same principle, it really worked for me. Hare Krishna.
Right behind you.
Hare
Wait a
Krishna.
minute, let's line up, because others, who did I already call on? You're 4, and then 5, and then 6. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So yesterday I had a very good fortune of associating yourself and going to different locations with you. And
He carried a huge bag of books, because I was so insistent that we have the variety of foreign books available. Thank you for doing that.
so I observed one thing. You always mention that keep the transcendental vibration going. And I observed that wherever you were going, you were always chanting the mantra. And in the car also, even if you have 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you're always chanting or either reciting verses or reading from your page that you carry. So that was very inspiring. And it's very important, because one of the laws is strong sadhana. So I feel like this is part of sadhana. You prepare yourself before you enter the battlefield. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for inspiring.
Thank you. It was really a pleasure being with you yesterday. Thank you. Okay, whoever's next, you have to assert yourself, because then it'll work.
Hare Krishna, dear
Thank
Guru
you.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. A couple of points, I'll be quick. I think my first learning yesterday was the e-book, which Malini Mataji demonstrated. So there are two barriers in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. The first barrier is the mental barriers, the count of books, because there are 10 books, and the cost. So this e-book helped take away the cost factor, because we were doing e-books with even a $50 donation. So even students got that. So it really helped there. And that count did not traumatize them, because it's download by Canto. So that really helped. The second thing is that the form which Malini Mataji used is very small. It's just 3 fields. So it's very quick. It can be done easily. The persistence that she demonstrated, I had seen this for the first time. So I think if someone demonstrates persistence like that, then Krishna cannot help but fall in love with such a devotee. So that was amazing. The people who were passing by, they were looking at the big SB banners, Srimad Bhagavatam banners, and they're very curious of what is happening. The fourth one is police car. So when the police car appeared there, we were very apprehensive. We were thinking, if he objects, we will leave. But to our surprise, he took the book and he said, I was waiting for this book. So the learning there is sometimes our mental barriers stop us. But you mentioned last year that we don't know what Sukriti someone has. So we just got to try. From Sheetala Kund Mataji's experience, pregnant women are a good target segment for Srimad Bhagavatam. So yeah, these are all the points that I had. I had 2 questions, Prabhu, which you might cover later. One is, how do we get started with distributing books at airports and in subway train stations? And what is the recipe for distributing Srimad Bhagavatam to people who are not Indians?
Malini will answer the question about non-Indians, because she's going to give a comprehensive lesson about sets of Bhagavatams. But airports and other public places of transportation require permission. We had permission for years in America because we had an ongoing lawsuit against the Port Authority of Los Angeles for almost 30 years. And we spent millions of dollars and it was all worth it because we were able to stay in the airports. But then gradually the court system turned more and more conservative, and then 9/11 came, and then they used that as an excuse to end it. However, places are different. What I recommend is do your due diligence. It's always helpful to do your research about where you can get access to book distribution spots. We've done it before where we send out devotees to look at the fine print. I'll give you two examples. One is the place where we have our Harinam and book distribution once a month, which is called Kirtan Oasis. We set up a festival. It looks like Rath Yatra, only it costs $150,000 less. And there, for several years, we struggled because we were us against everybody else who wanted to come to the park. So we went and did the research and found out in the fine print that you could rent the park for the night. And so the devotees went there and told them we'd like to pull a permit. And they said, oh, we don't do that. And then they said, oh, no, yes, you do. And they said, oh, I guess we do. And we've been pulling a permit there and staying there for hours with huge results. And another example was we went around and looked at a lot of the corporations. One of them was, Walmart? We did. For Walmart, for which later they changed the laws because of us, but can thank us later. We found out that they had a clause in there for nonprofits to be able to stay in front of the store. So boy, did we ever stay in front of the store. We covered every Walmart almost 24 hours a day. And after about 4 years of that, they realized, maybe we can adjust our bylaws, which happened. But the point is, we got 4 years of unlimited access to Walmart because we did our due diligence. And I know from the old days when we used to go out, it was us against the man. So we never did due diligence. We'd sneak into everything. We figured if we had to pay admission to get into a concert or something, we gave money back to the enemy. But it's much more effective to try to find out all the fine print to see where you can go, where you can stand, and then make sure you have the letter and everything, because the police just react. They don't know anything. They just say, you can't be here. You have to have a letter from City Hall saying, no, they can be here. That's my general advice on that as far as airports and train stations, but it goes for everything. Okay? And there was one or two more. We're coming to, okay, yes? Oh, you have it, so it's your turn, and then Ranchor.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have two small reflections.
Okay.
The first reflection is, yesterday out on Sankirtan, quite a few people were very mockingly or jokingly reciting the Maha Mantra. And I was thinking back to the japa circles where you were mentioning that even jokingly or mockingly reciting the Maha Mantra has immense benefit. And I was thinking about how much benefit that all those people must have received by hearing it, but also chanting it in their own way. And the second reflection that I have is, back in high school, my teachers would always say this phrase, teamwork makes the dream work. And I was thinking about how doing Sankirtan, or yesterday, doing it with a lot of devotees, was very nice, because even if somebody was feeling overwhelmed or feeling anxious, we could lean on each other for support. And I thought, like doing it together was very nice, and I'm very thankful for all the devotees that were there yesterday.
It's such a difference, isn't it, going out together on a big team? Not just together at your spot, but knowing that all the devotees are in different places. And one of the benefits of that is we at ISV and have a WhatsApp, and you can see starting from early in the morning, the pictures start coming in. Everyone takes photos and they say, oh, look, they just did 5 sets over such and such. And then all day long you see them coming in, and you know everyone's together all over the city, all over the area. So that really helps. Ranchor.
Hare Krishna. Just 2 small reflections. The first was, yesterday was quite a struggle for me. In terms of quantity, I guess I ended up getting some later on, but I felt that it was a little challenging at first, a little bit more challenging than I expected it to be, as I've tried doing the service a little bit longer. And it really did remind me that purity is the force. And I feel like my sadhana needs to be stronger because I saw that you came into the same place that I was at, some of the same people that I waved at, the people that ignored me reciprocated with you. So I think the purity differential is why. And so focusing on my own sadhana, I feel like is something that'll really help me. And I think that's kind of something that needs to be focused on more. Just internal purity is more important than any external facet or skill. The second reflection is with regards to authenticity. When I was in high school, people would say that I was like a really rich kid because they would assume that my kanti mala was like gold chains. So then recently I decided to start seeing anyone with gold chains saying that it matched mine. Because they saw it, and at least for a few seconds they bought it. And that was something that was able to connect with people, and I feel like that's something that helped me a lot, just being authentic. That's like a stupid joke that I would make. So I think being authentic really helped me. One book distributor told me, if you're not yourself, people can tell. So just finding strategies and methods that align with your personality. Towards the end, that really worked for me.
I just want to comment on the first point, and that is, yes, purity is the fourth, and yes, sadhana is the first law. I'd add to that that confidence is really important. And that is something that you get over time, because when we go out and we're in a place where maybe the first 10, 20 people say no or don't even stop to look at you, you can think, oh, maybe it's me. But when you stay out, it's in mathematics called the law of large numbers. The more you do an experiment, the more you come to the average mean. So when you do it more, you start to see that there's a ratio that unfolds. And even those you think, maybe you'll see somebody and think, they'll never distribute a book. I mean, I've seen this so many times. I had a godbrother, still have a godbrother, named Naikatma, and I remember when he first started going out, and I thought, he mumbles when he talks to people, so how is he going to sell any books? But then he was selling books. There were another devotee who was a stutterer, and everyone was taking a book from him. I took out, there's a deaf movement in London, and the leader of that movement I took out on book distribution for his first time. He did bigger than everybody. And when you start to see that, you know, people are the same everywhere, and the ratio kind of unfolds in the same way as you're out there, you get more confidence just to approach everybody very determinedly, and I think that's one of the elements that really helps. It's just more experience of being out there, gives you that sense of confidence, and that comes out in your presentation also. You're relaxed, you just present, and also detachment is really helpful too, because if you feel take it or leave it, I'm going to move on to the next person and I'm presenting something invaluable. If you can't appreciate it, we'll pray for you, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to convince you right now. And that kind of mood also has its effect, and it also it shows confidence. So, yes, last one. We want to get as much of Malini's presentation as possible. So we'll start forthwith.
Sorry, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I'll be quick, I made notes. What I was learning over there is that everyone is actually needed. Not just the kirtaniers, not just the book distributors, but even the kids dancing, even the kids handing out lollipops, even devotees just kind of carrying your book bag around. Everyone on the team is actually needed, and they can actually contribute to the Sankirtan movement, right? So especially as leaders, when we go back to our temple, our respectable locations, we should always keep that in mind and encourage them. Definitely cooperation among everyone, always keeping the main goal. The main goal is actually extremely potent. I know with I had a very big team yesterday. I was just trying to be like, you guys, come on, it'll be fun and easy. Just keep it fun and easy, and just kind of keeping that momentum alive amongst all the devotees. Also making adjustments during Sankirtan. So if a spot is not working or if it's too loud or anything else, maybe a shift in location or a shift anything else, and also divide and conquer. Not all 25 devotees needs to be in one location. They can go across the street or a block, just to kind of keep it a little bit simple. And definitely special thanks to the kids. And Prabhu, he was on Satvik Prabhu. He was actually, we can give maybe a round of applause because he...
First, let's hear what he did.
Sorry. Because we actually forgot that he was actually recording everything. So in future reference, when devotees actually needs to do training and everything, we actually have everything as a reference. So it's actually, his service was actually, I think, one of the most important. So we can kind of continue this legacy of Sankirtan. Sorry I took so much time.
Okay, now we can. He put a microphone in my pocket that I totally forgot about. And on the way home, I was thinking, I wonder what I said. I hope it was all good. Okay, now I'd like to personally, yes? Prabhu? Yes, one thing.
A few weeks ago, I was just thinking about, how much is this book distribution going to do anyways? And I was just thinking about it and trying to get some numbers, some metrics. So I was doing some research, and I found out that the Christian traditions in America alone get about $1.2 billion of revenue from book distribution alone. 1.2 billion, and this was a 2023 number. So this was not a 2024 number; it was 2023 number. So I just thought about it, and so that's 4.8 million Bhagavatam sets. That's the capacity of the market, 4.8 million Bhagavatam sets. So we are seeing these numbers now, and they are continuously climbing. They are continuously increasing, and they feel like big numbers. But 4.8 million we are nowhere close to that number yet. So I feel very enthusiastic about that.
We're not going to take that sitting down, are we? Yeah, we should stimulate the community of devotees all over the world that you're going to let these guys beat us? That's who we should be competing with. Thank you very much, Bhagavat Prabhu, for that. And now I'm very happy to introduce again Malini Devi Dasi, who will now give us a comprehensive view of the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatams. Please welcome her.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm grateful, Prabhu, for this opportunity. And I wanted to say that very early on when we started distributing Srimad Bhagavatams at ISV, it was Prabhu's idea to try it out. And it was Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu's idea to start door to door. Before that, we never did door-to-door, but it was his idea. And that's when we started door-to-door Bhagavatam distribution. And after that, we have seen a tremendous increase. So a lot of credit actually goes to Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu for many of the things that we are done so far. So a lot of principles in distributing Srimad Bhagavatam are the same as what Prabhu has been teaching us for the last 2 days about the 4 laws as well as how to distribute a Bhagavad Gita. It's just that we have to understand that distributing one set of Bhagavatam is almost equivalent to distributing 36 Bhagavad Gitas at one time. Because there are 18 books in one set, and here you sell for $350. So if you distribute a Bhagavad Gita for $10, so it is 36 times, so that much. So don't be discouraged that in your first go that you haven't distributed a set. It's not a very easy thing. We all start off by trying. So I just wanted to start off with that before we go through this. These are certain principles that we have seen have worked for us. You can try them. You can try the principles, and wherever you think that you can do some innovation, please feel free to innovate. Because Bhagavad Gita script works exactly as Hadai Pran Prabhu was mentioning. Distributing books for like some years now, I still follow the exact same script as Prabhu mentioned for Bhagavad Gita, and it works each time. And I didn't bother to innovate because it works, so I didn't want to spend more time to change it. But for Bhagavatam, it is little different, and that we will see while we are presenting. So we can start. The 4 laws, as I mentioned, applies for Srimad Bhagavatam too. Strict, serious, and sincere sadhana. Whatever we do in the field is a reflection of what our sadhana is. And as Prabhu mentioned yesterday, that they want to see you, not the book first. So that's very important. Then get sets is the second law. Oh, I should have asked the question, what's the second law? Just so that it is a refresher. Be ready for the third one. We'll see what's... Second law is get sets. And get sets for Bhagavatam is to carry multiple sets in multiple languages. As Sonam Mataji has done a beautiful job yesterday to pack the display of all the language Srimad Bhagavatams, it really helped. So to know where you're going, what language is needed is very, very useful, especially when you're presenting to different demographics. And carry ebooks. Ebooks is a relatively new concept that we are seeing, but what we have seen is that whatever the rejections that we see for paper books are now all converting into Srimad Bhagavatams because of the ebooks. And yesterday before we went, everybody was asking, oh, I want an ebook for my temple, for Toronto and different centers here. So we spoke to Balmukunda Prabhu yesterday, and what we decided is that instead of all the temples trying to find a way to get ebooks, ISV will facilitate ebooks for all the temples in North America, like we do the NIFTA. And we will supply all the ebooks, and we'll keep track of all your scores, and then we will send the remittance to BBT North America until we find out the actual way which BBT Europe is working with BBT North America, because we know that it's Bhagdar Purnima is in just 2 weeks. We don't want you to not try ebooks until then, and you can go full-fledged how many ever you want. Please feel free. And it's very easy to carry ebooks because there's nothing heavy. All you need is a phone, and there's a simple form that we will share all this information with you. There's a simple form that you can take, you can fill out, and as soon as the person fills out the form, they will get an ebook instantly. So there is no wait that they have to wait for a couple of days, they have to contact you, oh, what happened to my book? There's nothing like that. So we have made the process very simple, and this will be made available to everybody, so there is no need to panic. And this is the other thing that we found is, even though we have full sets of Bhagavatams that we carry to different places, we need something to display. Because when you say we show a box full of books, they really don't know what's inside the box. They want to see, they want to touch, and they want to feel how this paper feels like. So we carry some display Bhagavatams, like you can see different languages you can carry, or one full set, or we usually also display the full set. Yesterday at the store, we displayed the full set of Bhagavatam, because people think when we show them, we are distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, they often think it's only one book. And after the whole presentation is given, they say, oh, 12 cantos, 18 books, they get surprised. So we start by showing them the full set right away. This is a set, this is a set. We keep reiterating so that all the explanations that you do doesn't have to go waste in the end. So we start with showing them the full set of Bhagavatam. You can actually display it in different arrangements also. Some devotees like to just stack it up all the way, 18 books, just to show the intensity of it. Some devotees like to keep it in a nice mountain, whatever inspires you. It's the more you show, the more you sell. Oh. I want to ask, what was the third law of book distribution? Yes, twice. So the third law of book distribution is the more you show, the more you sell. The more you show Srimad Bhagavatam sets, the more you can sell. More often or not, if you get a table to display Bhagavatam, that's perfect. Yesterday we went to one store where we wanted to distribute Bhagavatam sets, and they said we can set up a table inside the store. But when we reached there, the owner said, sorry, it's a busy day, we can't let you set up a table inside. But that worked out in our favor, Krishna's mercy. We had a nice grassy area where we set up a nice table, we put a nice display, banners and everything. That's a best case scenario. Sometimes you often don't get that. So we put Bhagavatam sets in the trunks of our car. There's a devotee, his name is Achyuta Kumar Prabhu. He's a fired up devotee, and he doesn't come back home until he distributes at least double digits of Bhagavatam each time. So he fills up his trunk up till the top. There's no space even to put a paper in there. So we open up the trunk, because more often we don't have a table, we don't have permission to put a table, but we do have permission to distribute. So we just park the car reverse, and then we open up the trunk, and we have all the Bhagavatams like stacked up. So to show that this is, so you can show that one too. And we tell them that until this is emptied, we are not going back home. So we tell the people this is our goal, to finish all of this. So yeah, the more you show, the more you sell. And the other thing, as His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu shared the story of His Grace Vijay Prabhu at Balboa Park. When you have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam, whether somebody takes it or not, you keep asking the question, do you have Bhagavatam? Do you have Bhagavatam? Do you have Bhagavatam? Do you have Bhagavatam? So we keep showing them, do you have Bhagavatam? This is a set, this is a set, this is a set. And somebody, Krishna will send someone that, because you're asking so many times, Krishna will send someone to take it. So we keep showing Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh. The fourth law of book distribution is you must organize. This principle is true for any books, but more so for Srimad Bhagavatam. And some of the things that are important are the tools. Yesterday we went and devotees were carrying Srimad Bhagavatam, which is really nice. But if you do that over a period of time, we end up with bad backs and everything like that. So better to invest in some tools. We found some really nice tools which can stack up at least 4 to 5 Bhagavatam sets on one trolley without breaking the trolley, of course. So we can invest in those tools. And whatever you need, credit card, machines, you need to take contact information, apps, whatever you need. Invest in all the tools, and especially invest in your payment methods. It's very important, as Prabhu was mentioning, that distributing Bhagavatam is not an ordinary thing. It's really extraordinary. And anybody trying to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam is extraordinary. And just imagine if somebody accepts a Srimad Bhagavatam, they are like from another world. So when they are ready, we don't want to delay, because buyer's remorse, definitely, especially if you say it's $350, people can tend to change their mind quickly. So whatever we can invest in getting the tools and everything where they have very less interaction, like even with their credit card numbers, if they don't have to touch and enter anything, if they just tap, that's the best. Because they tap and they go. No waste of time, no time to change their mind. So if you can invest in all of those tools, it is really, really helpful. And the other one is that for the organization, this is a very important step to scout the locations and maintain a database. So what are the possible locations for Srimad Bhagavatam sets? Yesterday we went to a store. So if you know ahead of time, what kind of people come to the store? Are they students? Are they regular people? Do they speak different languages? If you know ahead of time, then we can be prepared to present whatever is needed for them. Second thing is that there are different parks that you can go to, like national parks and other places, where legally you can set up tables. So get those. And somebody was asking about airports. Airports are not open, but DMVs are open. I don't know what you call it here, but we call it as Department of Motor Vehicles, where you get your driver's license and everything. Those spots are legally open. You just have to get the permission for that. And they let you set up a table there too. So there is a constant crowd on daily basis if you wanted to set up tables there. And airports are not open but fully, but they are open in certain places where there is baggage claim, and we are setting up some tables at the airports. It's not huge, but something. If you want, you can try. And festivals. Every festival that you have a booth or wherever you go for distributing books, display Srimad Bhagavatam. Every festival, every place where we have a book table, you can have Bhagavatam as well. So these are all the potential places. If you scout ahead of time, you know what kind of people you can expect, and you can be prepared for the kind of books. And you can use different tools like WhatsApp. Yesterday, it was so nice to have one WhatsApp channel when you're going out on book distribution for Bhagavatam sets. Because what happens is that you go to a spot and you wanted to distribute a Bhagavatam set, and someone who speaks Spanish language comes and say, hey, do you have this in Spanish language? So if you have a group, WhatsApp group, where you say, does anybody have Spanish set with you? They can get it. Because even though you prepare ahead of time, sometimes we do miss because we didn't anticipate that person coming. So having a tool to organize, communicate is very good. And balancing your team. If you're going door to door, by the way, door to door is one of the best spots for distributing Srimad Bhagavatams. But during summers, it's not so great because summer people are out. They're either on vacation or they're going to the beach, park somewhere. But during the other times, not summers, door to door is the best spot. And door to door, when you try to knock the doors, people tend to see is it safe to open the door. So if we have a combination of both men and women in the team, people don't mind opening the door. If they're kids, then even better. They easily open the doors for you. So if you can balance the team accordingly. And Bhagavatam sets for distribution, it's best if you have a team instead of going alone. it's, first of all, there is good energy if you have a team. And if there are some things that the person is not able to get convinced or not able to understand, then the other person can add. And it brings so much of energy just amongst each other that we can distribute more Bhagavatam sets if we have a good team. So these are the pre-steps for distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And about the team, balancing the team, I wanted to say something from yesterday that we went to the store and Sonam Mataji, she was a very good team player. We set up the table a little far from the door. The door was like maybe near that chair and we were here. So people were walking off from this direction, every direction. So Sonam Mataji, her job was, she would, when people are coming out, she would say, there is this Malini Mataji came from California, she wants to talk to you. And then she brought them to the table. She brought everybody to the table like that. Actually, that's the most important step because it's calling people and asking them to come to the table is the most important step. So she was doing that, and then we could do the presentation, and then there was the other devotees who were doing the payments. So it really worked out really well. So if you have a team who can coordinate ahead of time and divide the responsibilities, you can take turns on who can do what. In that way, it's really exciting. You have to do only one of the few steps, and it's a teamwork. So it's nice to have that balance, your team. Oh, we got disconnected. So after this, we'll just go through some of the steps that we use for presenting Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the 4 keys, and they're very, very, very similar to what you have seen for distributing Bhagavad Gita. First is the motivation. So distributing Bhagavatam it's not like we just go to the place and start distributing it. It's nice to have constant meditation. Srila Prabhupada, he spent so much of time early in the mornings writing translations of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can at least spend some time every day thinking of how we can distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, Then maybe ideas will come. So it's nice to think of how to meditate constantly. In our temple at ISV, everybody is always thinking of Srimad Bhagavatam, how to distribute it. So when they meet, this South Indian festival where they put all the dolls, and they have the Shavatara doll, and they do it during Dashara time. So when they call their friends, some friends to come and visit their doll house, then they are thinking, oh, when I have that doll house thing, I will present the Srimad Bhagavatam to all my friends who are who don't come to the temple. So they are thinking of how to present different ways of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is a program called Kirtan Mellows, where we just offer a service of going and doing Kirtan in everybody's house. And as part of that service, they also give a small talk on Srimad Bhagavatam, like for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And then and the host calls all their friends for the Kirtan, right? It's their birthday or something like that. And in the end, there is a pitch saying that, oh, if you like, we also have Srimad Bhagavatam available. And most often, the host gets it. And one of the host friends also get it. So there are different ways on how you can distribute Bhagavatam. So try to meditate on different avenues. It's not set that only if you go to the book table or only if you go to different places you can distribute, but it's a constant meditation, thinking of, oh, where can I show, how can I show? And when we go to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, our goal is only to glorify Krishna and his devotees. We are not there to think that I want to distribute a set. We're just going there to glorify. And we are sowing the seeds. This is very important because when you give a nice explanation about Srimad Bhagavatam, we think that, oh, they should take a set because you want the results immediately. But instead of that, if you can think, you're just sowing a seed so that maybe in future, some other devotee, when they come, they take a Bhagavatam. There is a devotee from New Jersey. His name, I forgot. He used to call all of his friends from his IIT batch, every one of them, and talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. And some people even got bored of him. They wouldn't answer his phone calls. And that devotee didn't mind. He used to just make phone calls, and sometimes they take, sometimes they don't take. So most of his friends are actually in Bay Area. So when we went door to door, and then we started showing Srimad Bhagavatam, they said, yeah, my friend told me about this. They didn't take for him, but when we went and presented, they took the set. So, we should think of, even if they don't take the set, we should know that we are actually sowing the seeds for some other devotees. It's even nice to do service for somebody else by sowing the seeds for them and let somebody else take the credit for it. This really, really works, actually. Pray to act as instruments. Sometimes we think that, oh, I distributed a set. Once Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu came to ISV. So I asked him, can you give us some inspiration? We are going to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you please give me some inspiration? He told a very nice point. He said, he thought actually, and he said, pray that you are a conductor, not a semiconductor or insulator. I didn't understand, it was too technical for me. What is a semiconductor and insulator? He said that you pray that Krishna's mercy flows through you directly like a conductor from Krishna through you to that person. So don't have your own ideas that I am doing it. If you think that I am doing it, then it becomes an insulator. Krishna's mercy will just stop here. It won't go to the other person. And semiconductor, like thinking, oh, maybe Krishna did it, but it was my thing too. If you think like that, only part of it goes. So he said that pray that you are just a conductor. And then it just flows. May Krishna's mercy flow through you to that person. That was a very nice meditation. I think of it very often when I am on book distribution to be this, to pray to be an instrument. And this is my favorite, the most important part. This is taken from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj's quote. Once he mentioned in one of his quotes that when you go for book distribution, and this is very much so for Srimad Bhagavatam, he said that Krishna has a notebook he maintains, and there is a section for the devotee who is distributing, and there is a right side section for those who are receiving. So Maharaj said that when you present books, when you present Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna marks a tick for you. So your job is done. If the person on the other side doesn't take it, he gets a cross mark. So it's you're already done. You already got your points. So we are only concerned about the left side of the notebook, where Krishna is maintaining that we are presenting all the things, and then on the right side it's his job, the receiver's job, to get a tick mark, not our job. So we are only concerned about doing our part to present, and the other side is not our responsibility. This actually takes so much of pressure, especially for me, because I can only do my part, because as I mentioned, distributing one Bhagavatam is like distributing 36 Bhagavad Gitas at one time. So it's a Herculean task. So even if you distribute one set, or even if you don't get to distribute anything, we glorified Krishna and we got a tick mark, right? We still got a sticker, that's all we need. So that can be our mood, that we just want a sticker from Krishna. How many ever stickers we get, no problem. The right side is not our job, we only a left side part. Okay. Airline miles, everybody wants to put on their miles. So Bhagavatam set distribution is like trying to put on miles. And once you get to a certain level, you get some rewards, right? You get upgrade or whatever that is. So trying to present Srimad Bhagavatam is like putting in your miles in there. And once you get to a certain level, then Krishna sends you someone. Even though without presenting, they come and say, where is my Srimad Bhagavatam? So that's the reward that we get. So all we are concerned about is just putting in our miles, keep doing our miles every day, and then Krishna will send that rewards accordingly. Okay. Okay, now we talked about the mood, what we wanted to, how we wanted to, what consciousness we need to present the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can go to the actual connection part when we go out, when we meet people at the table, door to door, festivals, airports, wherever we go. Connection is the most important thing. As Prabhu was mentioning the other day, wave your hand and everything. Same thing for Bhagavatam also, but you extend the connection a little bit more. So you wanted to ask who they are. And here, testing for the ripe fruits, same principle as Prabhu was mentioning yesterday. If somebody is not interested, we just let them go easily and we wait for the ripe soul to come. So I'm not repeating those because it is already covered yesterday. And for Westerners, we cannot target Westerners to go and distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. With Westerners, it just happens. How does it happen? We meet some Westerners, we say that we just, hi, where are you from? And we start talking, have you heard about yoga? Then they keep saying, oh, I'm very spiritual, I read the Yoga Vasishta, they say that. Or they say, oh, I read Patanjali. Oh, I have a guru, I'm spiritual. These are the key words. We can keep looking when we hear those keywords. And somebody says, I read Bhagavad Gita, I did this Upasana training, I went to India for a month for yoga. Whatever are some buzzwords you can think of, the moment you see that, you can actually see that they are qualified to present Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you're going door to door, you can see different signs. People put nice torans and all those things which tell very easily that they are from Indian origin. Not only Indian origin, but at the same time, they like spiritual things. This is a very obvious sign. We used to do that a lot. We used to go to all the doors which had these first and then cover the other doors. And then we make friends. We just make friends, same as Prabhu mentioned yesterday. Just make friends. Ask them if they're from India. Ask them which part of India. Yesterday we went to that store. We found someone who is from the same place as where my husband lives. I mean, especially in Canada, it's not a very popular place. So when he said, I asked, where are you from? He says, I'm from Andhra Pradesh. I said, oh, me too. Which place? He said, Hyderabad. I said, me too. He said, which place in Hyderabad? Alwal. I said, yeah, me too. And which place? Lothapunta. Me too, You too? Yeah. So when you try to connect people like that, this connection when they make, even if they're not from your place, we will see, even if they're not from your place, you can find something common that you can connect with. Once you connect with them, they are open to even listen to what you have to say. And Bhagavad Gita, little connection may be enough, but for Bhagavatam, they have to listen at least for 5 to 10 minutes. So they have to be really open for them to listen to what you have to say. So this, you can just ask little more questions. As Prabhu mentioned yesterday, question is the hook. You are leading the conversation, so you have to ask a lot of questions. And if somebody is spiritual, you ask them, what kind of yoga practices do you do? Do you do yoga? You do meditation? What kind of meditation do you do? Do you chant? Do you chant any mantras? You can keep asking questions. And they are very happy because we want them to feel special, right? And then, unlike Bhagavad Gita where you're distributing individually, Bhagavatam we distribute in a team. So this I learned from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. I like to introduce everybody in the team. So I think yesterday also I just introduce everyone and I say that, oh, I'm a software engineer. I work for eBay, and I say that this person is works at school, this person works. So we just introduce all of the devotees. They feel that, we are just making friends. And then I ask, what do you do also? And they tell, I am doing this. And funny thing, yesterday, I was introducing myself like that. And I said, I work for eBay. And that person said, no kidding. I'm joining eBay in 7 days. He lives in Canada. So, you never know how you connect with people. He was very happy. And I said, if you need any help, let me know. And he said, no problem. I asked, do you have a Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam? He said, yeah. He said, yes. Can you give a donation? No problem. He gave $50 donation right away, because we were able to connect. When you connect, people become very happy. Introducing your team is really nice for them to feel part of it. And speaking in their native language, this always works. As Prabhu was mentioning, if you know a few lines in Spanish, Chinese, as Prabhu was mentioning yesterday, there was, in some MSFs at ISV, we had a goal of distributing only Chinese books or Spanish books. So then we learned few lines. And whoever we meet, we keep repeating those lines. Sometimes it may not be fully correct, but they really like it because we are making an attempt to learn their language. So they like it very much. So do that. And if they're from India, and if you know that particular language, even if it is broken, that is okay. Yesterday we found some Gujarati speaking people. I don't speak Gujarati, but I just know a few lines, 1 or 2 lines. I just said those lines. They were laughing, but it's okay. The idea is to just have a conversation. So speak in their native languages. And all of these things actually is just making them feel special. So, and one very important thing about distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, if there is a family, speak with all the members of the family. Mataji was explaining about yesterday's incident that we only spoke to the wife, husband was absent. What we notice is that when we distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, we ask the entire family to come because we don't want to repeat the conversation. Second thing is, one of them is a decision maker. We don't know who that is. So it's better to have both of them at the same time, and both of them can listen to the conversation, so it is helpful. So we ask them to come together. And if you know any regional saints, you can glorify them, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, from their local places. This is all again still connection. And you can connect them to any holy places that you know. And the next part is the presentation. So far was only connection. This presentation is totally different for different people. So this is about what you understood from Srimad Bhagavatam. You can present. There's a few things about template, but this is where you can be creative. It doesn't have to be the same thing. You can be creative. But I wanted to bring out a few things which people often have questions about. When we start, after connecting with them like this, we don't say that we don't give them a Bhagavatam. We just say that we are doing a project. And the project is to save and preserve the Vedas, the ancient knowledge. When they hear there is a project, they think they don't have to do anything yet. They're just still listening. It's just a project that they're going to listen about. And we talk, if we have time, you can talk about Matsyavatar, the story of how Vedas actually were lost. Then Krishna came as Matsyavatar to preserve and protect the Vedas. So you can talk about that. And when we ask them, so do you know about Srimad Bhagavatam? Everybody say, I already have. I say, do you have Bhagavatam? Yes, I already have. But what they mean is they have Bhagavad Gita. They always get confused between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They think that, Bhagavad Gita I already have. It's different. So here we have to explain how Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. Bhagavatam is the one written by Vyasadeva, essence of the Vedas and everything. You all know all this, so I'm just going fast on this one. And we can, one more thing we can mention is that Bhagavad Gita is like a zip file and Bhagavatam is unzipped. So Bhagavad Gita gives you the basic principles, Bhagavatam expands. Bhagavad Gita is philosophical, but Bhagavatam is stories. When you say stories, people like it. So we just mentioned that. And after this, you can glorify according to your realization, but here are a few pointers. You can talk about the advent of Srimad Bhagavatam. A lot of people don't know how Bhagavatam started, then how it was setting the scene, simplifying complex philosophy, authentic scientific proofs, captivating stories, and influence on children. Advent of Bhagavatam, you can say how Narada Muni helped Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just going fast because this is all something you already know, so these are just a few pointers. Setting the scene, how Parikshit Maharaj had only 7 days, and then that's how Bhagavatam was spoken. A lot of people don't know this context. They think that they don't know what the Bhagavatam is, but if you just give them in 1 or 2 sentences what it is, they at least come to know. Even if they don't take the Bhagavatam, they will know what it is. And simplifying complex philosophy. Here, if you have any stories that you want to share with them, one example I always say that Bhagavad Gita says that you change your bodies like you change your dress, and at the end of the life you take another body, and we can tell the story of King Kshitraketu and how he's lost his son, and when he came back he said, which father are you? I had so many fathers. So we can say how Bhagavad Gita philosophy is actually explained nicely in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. Authentic, third canto has entire authenticity in science and so many stories. Here you can tell any story, Gajendra's story, Dhruva's story, whichever story you like, Prahlad's story. So this is something that you can do according to your taste. Kids love it. Sometimes what happens is that when we are at the table, we try to show Bhagavatam to someone, and the kids are also there. The person doesn't take. But as soon as you show a book, they grab it. And they start opening the book. They start flipping the pictures and everything. And then the father says, no, we don't want it. And the kid says, but I want it. We sold so many Srimad Bhagavatams because kids wanted it. And then we said that if your children are so interested, why are you stopping them? And we glorify their children. Actually, that's true. There are very few people in the world, especially kids, who want to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And the parents say no, so we just try to explain how these are special children, that they are inclined towards Bhagavatam. Even touching Srimad Bhagavatam is so auspicious. And it lays a strong foundation for kids, especially, and you can cope up with the peer pressure. The kids who grow up reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam are much stronger and smarter than the other kids. They do better in school than everybody else. All the experiences that you have about kids reading Bhagavatam, you can share. And it answers difficult questions. There is one thing that we always share, that we do the arti like this every day. When I was growing up, since the beginning of my childhood, I asked my mom, why do you do all these? Like, why do you offer incense, then lamp and all these? She never had an answer. She used to say, don't ask absurd questions. That's what she used to say to me. But in Bhagavatam, we have all of these, that how the incense comes coming from earth, we offer it back. So all of the answers are there. So it's not just like a ritualistic thing, but it has real answers. If you want your children to grow up with real answers, then they should read Srimad Bhagavatam. And it enriches their vocabulary. As His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu says, SATs, they will ace it if they read Srimad Bhagavatam from their childhood. And we can talk about some living examples to show how reading Srimad Bhagavatam from their childhood and just making that as a basis, how successful they are. Our dear Radhika Raman Prabhu's example, we often share with them. And it engages the whole family. Nowadays, people don't even have time to eat dinner together. We can say that you can just read one or two shlokas or one story or two stories at a time, where all of the family can come together. Bhagavatam will bring your family together. So in that way, this is one of the things. And after presenting all of these things, we just say that, please help preserve this Vedic knowledge and preserve Sanatan Dharma. Why Sanatan Dharma? This has become very popular these days. Everybody says, I'm a Sanatani. Yesterday, one person was, we recorded something. He said, I I want to protect this Sanatan Dharma. I'm proud that I'm a Sanatani. You know, when you say that we are preserving Sanatan Dharma, they're really happy. It is preserving Sanatan Dharma, of course. So we say that please help, please preserve Sanatan Dharma. And this is the close, because we are asking them for a call for action. Now you do something about it. There is I wanted to share one small story, that there was a person we were talking to, a couple. He was an atheist. And I was presenting, and then he said, I'm an atheist. I don't read these books. But he just stood there, and his wife said, no, I'm interested in these kind of things. I said, okay. Then I was explaining to the wife and everything. And in the end, when I presented everything, I said, please take a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he said, I'm an atheist. And the wife said, oh, so many books, I don't think I can read. And then I asked them, don't read. Just help preserve this Vedic knowledge. And then the atheist said, I don't have problem with preservation. He said, I don't have problem with preservation. As long as I don't have to read, I will preserve your books. And we also tell the most important point, that this book, the paper that is used to print, is supposed to last for 500 years. So 5 generations at least can make use of these books. So they say, really? And they keep turning the pages. And so we are not asking them to start reading. So when we say we are just doing this for preservation, it takes that thing of their head that I don't have to read all of them right away. So we close with this. And then they say a few things, comebacks. We'll just go through them really quick. They say no space, but now we have a solution. We say it's a spiritual vastu. It attracts good fortune, which is true. And we have e-books, so there is no problem with space anymore. And they say there is no time. We say that it's a marathon, not a sprint. We don't want you to finish in a day or 2. It's for your lifetime of reading. And be a sage page by page, one drop, like one at a time. They say no interest. We say try it with an open mind. Like that atheist, he didn't want it to read, he just wanted to preserve. Just keep an open mind. And they say no money, no problem. You can do as in installments. It's a spiritual investment. You have $1 a day program where you can do it in 30 installments. Sorry, 12 installments, $30 a month. Yeah, so we can do it in installments, no problem. They say not now. Use urgent and important. You can use the story that Prabhu mentioned about the bee sitting in the flower. We did that yesterday. We did that story to one person who said, "Oh, not now." We told them about the bee story, also. And not here at the temple. We said, "Temple has come to you now. Temple has come to you." So these are a few comebacks. And they say, no, we can't read 18 books. We say you don't have to read it right away. Just preserve. And we say this, give some space for Krishna in your house in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's all we ask. And then Krishna will give you the time to read it. So you don't have to worry. Just give some space in your house for Krishna. A lot of people take with that, actually. And then comes the donation. This is the most... this is the part where you have to close it quickly and strongly. When we ask for a donation, though we are showing that there is a set, we also have to show them this is a set. It comes in 12 cantos. We avoid the 18 books because 12 is already a big number. We don't want to make it 18. We just say 12 cantos, 12 cantos. When they go home, they will realize it is 18 books. But still it's 12 cantos. We tell them the first 2 cantos are Krishna's feet, third, fourth his legs, his navel, and then 10th canto is his beautiful smiling face. And that's why it comes in a set. We can't give you one part of Krishna. You have to take the whole Krishna with you. Everybody believes this. I mean, so far I haven't seen anyone saying that it's okay, I'll take one part. Either they take it fully or they just leave it, but they do believe that it comes as a set. And then we say that it's a spiritual investment. So we don't, some people say, at this point, how much? How much donation? How much does it cost? We say that we don't sell them. It is too valuable to sell because these are spiritual books. So there are different techniques you can use, but sometimes I like to ask them, if you have to buy it in a bookstore, how much do you think it will cost? And they'll say, I don't know. And you say, you have gone to school, one book of engineering, how much does it cost? And say, oh, maybe $30, $50 or whatever it is. So for the entire set, how much does it cost? And they do their math and they come up with their number. And they say, you're pretty close. You can say you're pretty close, but we can say it costs us about $250 to print and ship, and anything that you give over is a donation. We got many 500s. We got thousands. We also got 250s. And in some cases, we also got 200s also. We sell for $250 in US. Here it is $350, but in US. There is one person, when we asked them to make a guess of how much it takes, and he came up with a math, and it says that it costs about $750 according to his estimation. And he said, is it okay if I give you only 500? So, you know, it is up to the living entity and Krishna on the right side. I mean, we are not on the right side. That's Krishna and that person. We are on the left side. So people take. And then there's some people who really are financially challenged. But if they're really interested, it's okay. Yesterday, one last thing. There was a student who said that he's working and he has to maintain some expenses where he doesn't have anything. So he was taking an ebook. We told them give like $50 or $100 donation. He said, I can only give you 20. And we said like, try at least little more. And then he took up his phone and he took out his calculator of his expenses. I mean, how much he has to pay for all of these. He said, I can only do 25. And we said, okay, no problem. But he said that when I get my job, from my first paycheck, I will give 10% of my first paycheck. This happened yesterday, just yesterday. So just the thought that he wants to give 10% of his paycheck, first paycheck towards the books, that's good enough, you know. Again, on the right side, that's Krishna's problem. But still, I mean, at least he has the intention. He's a student, really wants to read. Then we let them go. But those are exceptions. But what we found is some people give 500, some people give 200. At the end, it balances out. We get exactly what we need towards the end. And we also say it's a special offer today only, very auspicious day. You take it today. And Shubhastu Shigram. And we accept credit cards, take installment payments. And I wanted to talk about one thing about that installment payments very quickly. The story that Mataji was sharing, this is something for us to think about. Nothing, because these are all new things we are learning. The pregnant lady wanted to take, but she wanted to pay with her card. She was ready. She took the card out. But there is something with Canada payments that we can't put more than $200 on one card. It has to be 2 different cards. So the devotee said, you give this one and you bring another card. And she went to ask her husband for another card. And that husband thought it was something fishy. He said, I don't know, you're doing something. Why do you need 2 cards to make a payment? They don't know much about how Canada system works. So if we can make this part easy, where they don't have to think, they don't have to bring 2 cards, multiple cards, whatever it is, it actually makes it really, really simple. And that lady would have taken. I went back after that to talk to her, not to convince her to take the books, but I just wanted to know what stopped you? Is there anything that I can help you with? Then the husband said that, you know, why are you asking for this? It feels something fishy. I will come to the temple and take the books. So as much as possible, if we can be very authentic and as easy as possible, then that would help. And we can do an installation ceremony later. This is Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu's favorite. He likes to do the arti for the Bhagavatam install if you go door to door, or you can set up a time later where you can do this. And we collect contacts, take their information and give our contact information. And we connect them to some follow programs, like we have Bhakti Community. You may have other programs, you can connect them. And we ask for some referrals. This is very important. If you're going door to door, you can ask them, which is the next door we can go to? And they actually come out and say, you know, the door number 213, the door number 603, the door number this one, block there. These are all my friends, you can go. And we write down all those numbers. And then we go to those. So asking for referrals is very important. So you can ask for referrals and then you can go to their doors as if you don't know them at all. And then the most important thing is leave them with a good impression. Whether they take a set, they don't take a set, as Prabhu mentioned, just leave them with a good impression. If nothing, you made friends and you have shared your contact information and you sowed the seeds and somebody else will reap. That's it. Thank you so much.
You mentioned to me when you were doing an event with Bhagavatam sets how you met some people who came back from a time in the past because either you had left a good impression or somebody else had. Does that ring a bell? There's some incidents where you actually noticed that the person had a good impression from before and then they came back. Can you say about that?
Yes. I think this is when we went to, we went to a national park for a vacation, and then, I mean, I carried books, and Srivas Prabhu was very upset that the car is still full with books and we haven't distributed any. Then we stopped at a rest area at Yosemite National Park. And then I just found there is nobody in the rest area, but there were two people there. And then I distributed one Bhagavad Gita and the Trimurti stack. And the person who I was talking to, he said he was not interested. He didn't want anything, but I was still presenting. But the person next to him, he said, I will take it. And then he took the books. And then many months later, we were at the book table in one of the stores. And then when he saw me, he said, you remember you gave me this book in Yosemite. I forgot. I'm so bad at remembering faces. But you remember you took, after I took this Bhagavad Gita, I looked for a center which is close by. I came to Mountain View. And then now I'm meeting you. And then he took the Srimad Bhagavatam also. I don't know, Prabhu, if this is the same thing you were thinking of. Yeah. So. So leaving a good impression is so important. There's one more story, the last one I will share is when on Balram's appearance day, after the festival in the morning, I was just in devotional clothes. I was just walking and to a grocery store, and somebody just saw me and she said, Hare Krishna. I was surprised, Hare Krishna. I also said, Hare Krishna. And we just had a conversation and I said, it's Balaram's appearance day today, we have Srimad Bhagavatam. And I just mentioned it to her. I didn't push her. She said that she was a single mom with two girls. And I just mentioned that we have a temple. She came to the temple afterwards. She came to the temple, brought her two girls. She was also there in the youth jam. She sat through the youth jam. And after all of these things, she took a Srimad Bhagavatam. So just even if you're not able to successfully give at that point, but if you leave everyone with a good impression, then sooner or later they will take Srimad Bhagavatam. But you may not be there to give it, but they will take.
Thank you, Mataji. Just a quick clarification question. When you said door to door, and I know, is it only house to house or you're actually talking of apartments? Because
we do apartments. Apartments are very effective because they are very close by. If it is houses, you have to go far. But in our area, we exhausted all the apartments. So we also go houses. I mean, we also went houses. And I think we even exhausted the houses also, a lot of them. So now we are going to the stores. And the other part is also, if there are any favorable temples, They are very, very receptive. People coming to the temples are also very pious. If you have good connections with the temples, make friends with them, and you can also set up a table, or you can distribute from your car as well.
Right. Just given the Canadian, weather, I think house to house is a little bit
Yes.
harder in winter, which is non-summer. But I think devotees go more apartments, and then there's this whole thing of.
We have e-books now, so no
you actually,
space
yeah.
constraint.
So that was the point. Like how do you carry apartments? A little bit harder to walk around with a lot of sets, perhaps.
You have elevators in the apartments?
Yes.
So we usually have 3 or 4 sets stacked on the trolley.
Right.
So as I mentioned, I saw that you didn't have trolleys yesterday, but it's good to invest in a trolley.
Right.
You can carry 3 Bhagavatam sets on one trolley. You don't have to lift it. You just pull it. And you can easily distribute. And of course, you also have e-books if needed.
And last question on that is, do you take permissions from some of these apartment buildings? Any experience with condominium buildings? Sorry, these are specifics, but just any experience? Just wanted to hear your.
Generally, apartments we don't take permission, and once we had incident where, anyway, we don't take permissions from the apartment so much. But most of them are, if you have a specific sign says no soliciting very strongly, then you can avoid that. But there are a lot of apartments where they are open. So we go to those non-gated ones. They are very good. We just avoid the manager's office and anywhere close by, and then we go around the other places. We never got kicked out. Maybe once or twice, because some of them were complaining. But after so many years, maybe 1 or 2 incidents only. We leave with a good impression. We don't make it very, very difficult for us to have. So, yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Can you talk about some examples where someone moved from the right column of that book to the left column?
Who were recipients? I will tell you a very good example. So there is, I talked about Achyuta Kumar Prabhu from our temple who doesn't come back home until he distributes at least double digits. Once we went to an apartment complex where Achyuta Kumar Prabhu was staying. We went to his house, we just knocked on his door. He was rushing outside because they were going to go see a house. They were living in an apartment. They were going to go see a house for they were prospective buyers. And we went to their home and they had an appointment, but still we went and we told them about Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they took the Bhagavatam. We did a quick installation ceremony and everything. And after that, he started reading Bhagavatam. From his childhood, they were used to eating meat. And while he was reading Bhagavatam, suddenly, one day when he was eating meat, he felt an aversion in his body. And he completely stopped eating, with no contact with devotees, by the way. And then he started reading Bhagavatam. He became so attached to it. Then he started coming to the temple. And now he's one of the biggest book distributors of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have a few others also, but yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
So a couple questions. Thank you for your presentation. So when you're doing door-to-door, what's your initial sort of conversation to introduce yourself, number one? Number two is, when you are going door-to-door, which sort of demographic communities are targeting? Because in Canada, we have very different demographics. And as Radhamohan was saying, like, even in Toronto, like, they do these apartments that are full of like a lot of Indian people, but when Vaisesika was talking about Saskatoon or Halifax, Calgary, it's like we don't have a lot of Indian people there in certain demographics. So how do we do that?
We usually see the favorable audience. And Prabhu was also mentioning that there is Arabic and Farsi. But again, they have to be fully ripe. We are not targeting Westerners, not everybody, you can't target Bhagavatam for everybody, but there are very few who are ready for Srimad Bhagavatam. But for Indian origin, they already have the culture. They already have the culture. They know what it is. They grew up with it, so it is very easy for them to accept. If you're targeting, then go with the ones which are most favorable. And then by chance, when we hit a door which is not from Indian origin, we still present if they're favorable. I was just telling Prabhu that once we went to an Indian store, and there was a Farsi lady that she came to the Indian store, and we presented Srimad Bhagavatam. She took the Srimad Bhagavatam because she already heard about Bhagavad Gita before when she said, remember those buzzwords, I know Bhagavad Gita, I am spiritual, I like to read Vedas, all those things. So we just presented and some people take. But we cannot target a particular community where they will take. Professors, they like reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So many of the professors that we met who are not from Indian origin, they take Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you know some professors' quarters somewhere in any of the universities, maybe you can target. Prabhu.
I remember once when we were privy to the real estate lists, and we very successfully went through them. It was a selection process. We'd look at the names and houses. Can you say something about that? Because that indicates that kind of selection idea, narrowing it down.
Yes, Prabhu. I don't know if that's legal, but but anyway, we got a list from somewhere about the names of all the people who live in a certain area and their addresses. So what we did was we targeted that neighborhood, and we went and covered all the houses in that neighborhood wherever we think it was favorable. I'm sure in Canada also there are some lists that you can go through. Even if you need to invest in buying those lists, maybe you should try and see to get at least, if not, you can at least get the demographics. And once you get that, then probably you can try to check in those areas. We check for last names of South Indian people. Probably, I can't hear you.
Many a times, whenever elections are happening for councillors or regional councillors, so they get all the lists. Although this is not supposed to be open to public, it's for the candidate who are nominated. Like I've been part of the campaign teams for the MP elections and all that, so they do have that resource. So sometimes we have relationships, so we can get those lists from the councillors, regional councillors, and the MP office. So we can reach out. And another point, what you mentioned about the community, the festivals and events. This way we are door to door is fine. You're reaching out to one family and all that. So, but if you are participating in the festival event, let's say we request for a complimentary book table. If we set up that and all that, we reach out to the entire community at one go. And like my experience, recently we started a new center in Durham. Like we reached out to different community groups, Telugu group, Marathi group, Gujarati group. So they were happy to welcome us, and in fact Marathi group, they invited us at Gudi Padwa festival. And for our Rath Yatra, first Rath Yatra, they asked us, they invited me on the stage to openly invite all the community members. There were almost 300 members. And at one go, like if we have that and even reach out to them, I think this will be more effective. I mean that at one presentation, you can reach out to the entire family, and they're all, once the team leads, the president, secretaries, they are in favor. So automatically the entire group, even if you don't know them, they are connected. I mean this could be a more very effective and way to convert and even get contributions faster.
That's an excellent idea. If you have connections like this, use all of them. And we have done that at ISV as well. If they give you a chance to present especially in these regional festivals like local groups,
Yeah.
Tana, Bata, whatever they are.
Yeah.
If you get chance to present the Bhagavatam, it's a very good opportunity.
Yeah.
What we have seen these days, previously when we asked, do you know about Srimad Bhagavatam? Many people would say that, oh, I don't know what it is. But now they're saying, yes, I heard about it. So which means all the campaigns that we are doing, especially this Bhadra Purnima campaign, it's helping to increase the awareness of Srimad Bhagavatam. That helps because when that person meets a devotee at the book table, they will easily take Srimad Bhagavatam. So yes, that's a really good idea.
And like now the festival season started, a lot of Garba events happening, or Durga Puja and all these things, Ganesh festivals and all that. So like I'm in touch with a lot of, I volunteer a lot for various communities also. So this way you build up relationship, and then they will never say no to you. At least they offer you complimentary book table, which I've been doing for Milton Center and the other centers also. We've been asking for complimentary book table at least,
Prabhu, you need to be there in every center.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm trying to, now I'm in the National Festival Committee and the grant support for the ISKCON North.
Nice.
So I try to, whenever possible, I'll be happy to help.
Thank you, Prabhu. Mataji has one question and Prabhu has one question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the nice presentation. I had a question, like for Bhagavad Gita, when we show them the pictures, it really impresses them. For Bhagavatam, do you do the same thing?
Yes, we show. I didn't go in detail about that presentation because you already know that, but pictures are very effective. I show all the pictures in different cantos. I also tell them that each canto talks about one incarnation of Krishna, Matsya Avatar, Vara Avatar. I just mention a few cantos and I show the pictures. And when kids see the pictures, they get really attracted. And when I'm showing the pictures, I point it to the kids especially so they can see it. Because, parents sometimes ignore, but kids are very attached. They don't let the Bhagavatam go from their hands. So.
I had a thought, can we make like a small PPT, like a 2-minute PPT of the
We have a flip chart for how to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. We can share as a resource after this.
Okay, and sometimes it helps us, like there is a children's Bhagavatam set also that grows more, it covers the whole canto. It's Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's book.
Oh yes, we have those Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's books also. What we found is that if you're presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, like Prabhu was mentioning, don't hand them anything else. If you start showing Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's book and they say, oh, this is better for my children, instead, wait until the entire presentation is done. If they take the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can give Prabhu's books as complimentary, or if they don't end up taking Srimad Bhagavatam, then you can give them the other books. So that if you start with small books, Krishna books, and as Prabhu was mentioning yesterday, that when you're presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, somebody comes with the Krishna book, somebody comes with this one, then they immediately change their mind. So wait until the entire presentation is done, then you can give whatever you want after that. That's very good. Thank you.
Along the same lines, when somebody doesn't have a Bhagavad Gita to start with, or doesn't have some a basic book, do you make like some sort of split-second like change course where you you try to distribute them a Gita or like a Trimurti stack and then just do the Bhagavatam, or do you just keep going full head on the Bhagavatam and then?
Sometimes we have to see the person's inclination. We found very few cases where they never read Bhagavad Gita, they will take Srimad Bhagavatam. With Indian origin, no problem, because every book that you give, what we have seen is 90% of them, they just want to preserve. They may not read it fully, but they like to keep it. So you can give them Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all in one day, they will take it. But if you're talking to Western audience, maybe start with the Gita first, unless they're very, like a professors, they like to read all kinds of books at the same time, then they can take. But generally, we can start with Gita first. But Indian origin, no problem. You can give them Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitam, any other stack you have, they will take. We also give the perfectly complete library, also the full library of Srila Prabhupada to somebody as well. Some special souls. Yeah.
how, like in a temple environment or where there are lots of new devotees, etc., how do you actually, without hurting them, say to someone, hold on, don't do what you're doing right now. Like, you're trying to distribute something to someone, having a longer conversation, and then someone pipes in with a Gita in the middle, or someone they're trying to help, they're trying to be helpful. So how do you actually, what's the best way of kind of dealing with it and say, stop, don't do this?
It's good to have an orientation ahead of time. So this is what we have, like in the temple. Oh, by the way, Sunday book table, it does huge at ISV for Bhagavatam sets. So if you have every Sunday, if you can make a target, and we have pre-designated devotees who are going to work that table at the temple or whichever spot you are. If you know them as assigned already, it's better for them to talk amongst each other on what they want to say and to know what they can show, what they don't have to show. If you can have an orientation ahead of time, that is helpful. And another thing comes up all the time. When we go door to door, we start presenting Srimad Bhagavatam to someone. In the middle of the presentation, some new devotee comes and joins. And they start asking the same questions that we already covered, like, where are you from, this. So they're repeating. And few minutes later, another devotee joins and asks the same question. So it's really annoying. So it will be nice if somebody is joining in the middle of the conversation. We ask them to just stay